I just wanted to give you all a little bit of background about yoga. So just find any comfortable place to like sit or stand. Just going to give you a couple minutes of some context for where I'm coming from and what a little bit more about yoga. So yoga is an ancient practice that started thousands of years ago in East Asia and in India. And it's all about becoming more aware and more alert in our everyday life. So that the yoga shapes, the yoga postures that we'll do a little bit later in class and some of the breath work that we'll do, those are just a vehicle for really beginning to become more alert and more aware about our moment-to-moment experience. So it gives us this opportunity to become more aware about how our body feels. So taking time to sense into how like our muscles feel, how maybe our bones feel, right? Whether we feel like more tired or more awake. But it also gives us this opportunity to sense into maybe like the thoughts in our mind, whether they're really fast or slow. Right, the kind of quality of the thoughts that maybe we're having, and then also maybe checking in with the heart, right, our emotions. So getting a better sense for how we're feeling in a really holistic sense, right? There's lots of different styles of yoga and like kind of like brands of yoga, and my goal here is to introduce you all to really simple and accessible yoga shapes so that it's not so complicated that when we're not here together that you can't remember it, if that makes sense. It'll still be really effective yoga. So from here, let's go ahead and get started. I'd like you all to find either a comfortable seat, or if sitting isn't comfortable, you're welcome to lay on your back, right? If you're laying on your back, right, it might be on your yoga mat or your exercise mat if you have that. You could either be seated in a chair or seated on the floor. I just want you to be really comfortable. So whatever that means for you. And then if you can, right, hands just rest wherever they'd like to. You're welcome to keep your eyes open, or you're welcome to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. What I'd like you to do is see if you can invite your attention in towards your body. So just begin to sense in how your body feels, right? Maybe the temperature of your body on the skin. You might notice if there are areas of like tension or stress, or maybe parts of your body feel sore or relaxed. We're not here to judge, we're just here to begin to notice. Right? To begin to get curious. And then let's see if maybe we can take this a step further and notice the breath. So what is your breath doing right now? Right? Where do you feel it the most? Do you feel it the most in your throat, maybe your nose, maybe your chest, maybe your belly? Does it feel shallow? Does it feel deep? Right? Just see if you can get curious about your breath. And then from here, I'd like us to begin to change our breath a little bit. So if it feels okay for you, I'd like you to see if you can deepen your breath. So seal your lips and breathe in and out through your nose. Right, our nose is able to filtrate our air. And see if you can just begin to breathe a little bit longer and a little bit deeper. And if it's helpful for you to count either silently to yourself or, aloud, see if you can allow your breath, see if you can inhale for a count of 5 and then exhale for a count of 5, right? So it would be inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From here, let's see if we can add on a little bit. So I'd like you to place your hands on your belly, one or both if you can. And now I'd like you to see if you can begin to breathe into your low belly, right? So think about your belly as a balloon, and as you inhale, your belly gets really big, right? And as you exhale, your belly comes in a little bit closer towards your back or to your spine. We breathe into our belly and it feels big like a balloon. And we breathe out all that air and the belly button comes a little bit closer to the back. Let's do that a couple more times. So inhale into the belly. And then exhale out all that air. Good. How about one more time? Breathe into your belly. And then breathe out, release all that air. Good. Now let's take our hands up and put them up a little bit higher where our ribs are, where our lungs are. So kind of like the middle of the torso, middle of the trunk. Yeah, just like that. And then as you inhale, see if you can really breathe into your lungs, into your ribs, and maybe feel the hands widen out towards the sides of the room. And as you exhale, release out all that air and feel how the ribs come a little bit closer towards one another. Let's do that 2 more times. So breathe in into the lungs, into the ribs. And then breathe out, release all that air. Good work. Let's do that 1 more time. Big breath in into the ribs. And big breath out, release all that air. Good. Let's add on 1 more time. Bring your hands onto your chest over your heart. Good. Now breathe into your chest, breathe into your palms, feel the heart rise. And then breathe out, lower the chest, lower the hands. 2 more like that. Inhale into your chest. And exhale out all that air. 1 more time, big breath in. And big breath out. So this is called 3-part breath. So remember we breathe into our belly, and then we breathe into our lungs, and then we breathe into our chest. Now can we breathe into the entire trunk of our body, right? So as we inhale, can you fill up the belly, the ribs, and the heart? And as you exhale, can you just release all that air out, right? As best as you can, right? We breathe in to fill up. And we breathe out to empty out. Let's do that 1 more time together. Big breath in. And big breath out. Really nice. So if that 3-part breath work, works for you, if it feels like it brings maybe a sense of calming or relaxation to you, you're welcome to stick with it. But if you didn't really like it, that's okay, right? You can just begin to breathe how you like to breathe, okay? But let's begin to add on the layers and find a little bit of movement. So if you're on your back, come up and meet us in a seat, a cross-legged seat. And from here, I'm gonna sit back a little bit further so that you can see my body a little bit better, okay? So I'm just gonna scoot back a little bit. Yeah, awesome. And from here, let's add on a little bit. So what I'd like you to do is drop your right ear down towards your right shoulder. Yeah, just a little neck stretch. And you might feel this on the opposite side of your neck. Yeah, nice and easy. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And then slowly, can you hug your chin in towards your chest? And do this on the other side. So left ear over to your left shoulder, yeah. And nice and easy. Remember, your eyes can be open or closed. 1 more big breath in. 1 more big breath out. And then slowly hug your chin in towards your chest, just as we did before. And then if it feels okay on your neck, I'd like you to gaze up towards the ceiling. So lift your chin up towards the ceiling, bringing the back of the head back towards the wall, back behind you. Take a big breath in here. And a big breath out here. And then slowly just find a neutral gaze, right? So just gaze towards me. Awesome. And let's find what's called torso rolls. So just begin to move your upper body like this. And what's great about these is that there's no real right or wrong way to do them. Again, it's more about just moving our body and noticing what begins to feel good. So this is an opportunity for us to begin to really understand or begin to really sense into how our body's feeling, right? So this can be really big and dramatic if you like to move big, or this can be a little bit more subtle. And if you've just been going one direction, now is your opportunity to switch directions. Yeah, so I love all the variety I'm seeing. You all have your own sort of flavor to this. And that's what's so cool about yoga, is that it's always going to look different on each one of our bodies. It's always going to feel different every time we come to our mat. And then once you feel like you've done enough of those, just rise on up. Yeah. See if you can sit up nice and tall. Yeah, and then let's stretch the arms forward and up towards the sky. Yeah, really reach through your fingertips as best as you can. And then slowly drop your right hand down and reach your left arm up and over for a side body stretch. Yeah, so good. And notice where maybe you feel this in the body, right? If it's helpful, maybe you feel as if you could breathe into the side of your waist or into your low belly, right? Imagining that your belly is a balloon. Take one more deep breath in. And one more deep breath out. That looks really lovely, everyone. From here, reach your arms all the way up. And then just down to the other side. Yeah, so nice and easy side body stretch. And you might begin to notice how maybe this side feels compared to that first side. We're not here to judge. We're just here to notice, to feel our bodies, to stretch. One more deep breath in. And one more deep breath out. And then let's reach our arms high overhead as we've done a couple times. Good. And then exhale, twist to your right. So maybe bring your left hand to that front right leg and your right hand back behind you. Yeah, beautiful. And you might gaze over that back shoulder and just see what's going on back behind you. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out, really nice. Let's reach those arms back overhead, inhale. And then exhale, twist to the other side. Yeah, and maybe gaze behind you, see what's going on behind you. If you prefer to have your eyes closed, that's great as well. Take one more big breath in. Then one more big breath out. Really nice work, everybody. Let's reach those arms high overhead like we've done. And then as you exhale, find a baby back bend. So bend your elbows wide, and if it feels okay, lift your gaze up towards the ceiling. So lift your chin up. Let's do that 2 more times. So inhale, arms overhead. Good. And then exhale, find that back bend, bend your elbows, lift your gaze. Let's do that 1 more time. Inhale, arms overhead. Good. Exhale for that back bend. Bend your elbows, lift your gaze. Now turn towards me or gaze towards me. Keep your elbows wide. Take an inhale here. Feel as if you could really broaden through your chest. And as you exhale, see if you can bring your elbows together in front of you. Good. Yes, let's do that 2 more times. So inhale, elbows wide. Yeah, and then exhale, elbows come in towards one another. Beautiful. 1 more time like that. Inhale, open up really wide. Good. And then exhale, elbows together. Beautiful. Release your hands down, shake it out. And then I want you to notice what ankle's in front. Can you switch so that the opposite ankle is in front. Same idea, but just other side. So you might feel this in the low back or in the glutes, right, and the opposite side. And we're just going to do the same thing that we did, right? So begin to churn your upper body. Yeah, you might remember this from just a couple minutes ago. And if this feels awkward, right, because, right, you've never done this before, that's really normal. You can maybe close your eyes and instead of focusing on maybe what it looks like, focus on what it feels. Right? You can always turn off your camera if that's more comfortable. Just begin to sense into how your body feels. Right? What's your breath like? Get curious. And if you've only been moving in one direction, now is that opportunity to move in the other direction. And remember, this can be big and dramatic. This can be a little bit more subtle and small. Yeah, I love all the variety I see here. Really nice work. As you're ready, come and take a seat, right? Find stillness for a moment. Now let's add on that movement, right? So inhale, arms reach up and overhead. And as you exhale, again, right arm down and left arm up and over. Side body stretch. Yeah, you might feel as if you could reach out beyond the tips of your fingers. Yeah, love that. And let's rise right back on up. Inhale here, grow taller. And then exhale, other side. Side body stretch on the other side. So nice, everybody. Let's come right back up. Inhale here, grow tall. And exhale, twist to the right, nice and easy. If it feels okay, maybe gaze back behind you. One more inhale. One more exhale. Then turn to face me, reach the arms overhead, breathe in, and breathe out, twist to the other side. Right, same idea, maybe gaze back behind you if that feels okay. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And then reach your arms overhead, breathe in deep. Good. Breathe out, baby back bend. So bend your elbows, lift your chin, gaze up. Two more. Inhale, arms stretch up overhead. Good work. Exhale, back bend. One more time. Breathe and reach up. Breathe out, back bend. Then keep your elbows really wide, but find a neutral gaze. So gaze forward. Take a big breath in here. And then exhale, bring your elbows to touch in front of your body best you can. Beautiful. Two more. Inhale, open up nice and wide. Exhale, elbows come in towards one another. Really nice work, everybody. One more time like that. Inhale, arms wide, open heart. Exhale, elbows come in towards one another. Beautiful. Release your hands down. Good, and just take a moment. Yeah, just rest here. And then what I'd like you to do best you can is keep your head facing me or the way that it is, and see if you can turn your eyes and gaze over towards the right. So keeping your head as it is and just turn those eyes over towards the right. Yeah, and then gaze forward and then gaze to the left. Good. Gaze forward. Let's do that one more time and then gaze over to the right. So over towards that way, right? And then gaze forward and over to the left. Good, nice work. Let's come back to center, and from here, we've been seated for a while, so we're gonna move and find tabletop pose, also known as hands and knees. All right, so come onto your yoga mat or your soft space and come to all fours. This is called tabletop pose, so you might imagine that your body's kind of like a table, right? Your hands are the legs of the table and your legs are also the legs of the table, right? Awesome. And from here, we're going to move into cow pose. So for cow, we drop the belly low, we lift the tail high, and we lift the gaze and the chin high. So think cow pose. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, it's cat pose. So imagine a Halloween cat, right? A cat that gets really scared and you pop up your upper back. You hug the chin in towards the chest. So good. And then we'll do that a couple more times. So cow, drop your belly, lift your gaze and lift your tail. Really nice. And then exhale for cat, really arching your back up towards the ceiling. Beautiful. Inhale, cow, drop belly, lift gaze, lift tail. Exhale, cat, round your back body, hug your chin. Let's do that 2 more times. Breathe in for cow, drop your belly, lift your gaze, lift your tail. And breathe out for cat, round the back body. Last time we'll do this. Inhale, cow, drop your belly, lift your gaze, lift your tail. And breathe out for cat, rounding the back body. Now come back to your tabletop pose. And from here, let's come into what's called child's pose. So bring your knees out a little bit wider, right? Your toes might come to touch and then sit your hips back, right? Your forehead might find a pillow or maybe it finds your yoga mat. Your arms can be outstretched long in front of you. If your shoulders are maybe a little bit tired, right, your hands can reach back towards your heels. Stay where you are. I just want to take a look at you. Awesome. Yeah, good. So you can stay in your child's pose if that feels okay. And this is a nice time to maybe check back in with the breath, right? If maybe it's gotten a little shallow or a little bit quick, right? Maybe you can think about breathing into the balloon of your belly. One more deep breath in. And one more deep breath out. Now from your child's pose, I'd like you to walk your hands out long in front of you. All right, press the palms and the fingertips into the mat. And then from here, tuck your toes and lift your hips. And let's come into what's called downward facing dog. So downward facing dog looks like an upside down letter V shape, right? The hips are high, the head is low. Good. And from here, bend into one knee and straighten the other and kind of just pedal out through your down dog. So bending and then straightening into one leg. You might feel this in the back of your legs, maybe the back, right, the front of the chest or under the arms. And then just as best as you can, walk your feet forward towards the hands and come into a standing forward fold. And let's find Ragdoll. So bend your knees a lot, reach for opposite elbows. I want you to feel as if you're a Ragdoll, right? So Raggedy Ann or Raggedy Andy, if you know that reference. Just a doll here. Yeah, letting the head be really heavy, maybe shaking the head yes and no if that feels okay. Maybe another opportunity to sense in with your body, your mind, your heart. If anything maybe feels heavy on the mind or the heart or the body, you might give it permission just to slip off your shoulders and slither out the door. As you're ready, find stillness and slowly just roll on up. And we'll come to standing in your own time. Yeah, standing up nice and tall. Good. Beautiful. Yeah, excellent. So stand up all the way if you haven't already. Good. Let's shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Draw them back behind you and then slide them down. Yeah, a couple more like that. Just rolling out through our shoulders. Right? Maybe there's some tension in the neck or the shoulders and maybe it allows to soften a little bit more. Good. And then once you've had enough of that, just come to standing. And from here, I'd like you to bring your hands onto the front of your legs and see if you can begin to really tighten the front of your legs here. So it might feel as if your kneecaps begin to come up a little bit higher. And let's check in with the back of our legs. So hands can come onto our bum and see if we can make that a little bit harder, right? Active. And then keep your legs really strong, right? Sometimes it feels nice to check out the body, right? See what's going on. Reach your arms high overhead. So it's called mountain pose. So I want you to feel as if you could be as sturdy as a mountain. So even if there's storms or rain or snow, right, you are sturdy, you are strong. You're able to weather any storm that might come your way. Take one more big breath in. And as you exhale, drop your right hand down and reach that left arm up and over. And you might remember this from when we were seated. Yeah, so lovely. Side body stretch. And then come back up, strong mountain. So strong in the legs, tall in the arms, and up and over to the other side. Yeah, that looks so nice, everybody. Reach your arms high overhead. Take a big breath in for mountain. And as you exhale, baby back bend. So bend your elbows, lift your gaze up. And then bring your hands onto your hips. Good. Put a gentle bend into your knees and let's find chair pose. So imagine you're going to sit back into an invisible chair back behind you. Yeah. Bending into the knees, yeah, working the legs a little bit, right? So this is more of an active yoga pose. Take one more big breath in. And as you exhale, find a forward fold. So release that. Hands can come onto your blocks if you have them. If you don't have them, don't worry about it. See if you can step just your left foot back. So the right foot stays forward and you step the left foot back, or any foot, doesn't really matter. Yeah, if you don't have blocks, what I'd recommend is hands can come onto the seat of your chair. So this is my chair. Sometimes I know it's hard to see because it's clear, but it is here, right? So then lower down your back knee and untuck your back toes. And as you feel ready, you can bring your hands onto that front thigh. This is a low lunge with the back knee lowered. Yeah, legs still want to be really active, just like in mountain. And you can either stay here if you want to test out your balance, or maybe just explore, right? Arms can reach up. Yeah, and if it feels like too much arms up, arms can always come back down. Wherever you are, take one more deep breath in. And one more deep breath out. Really like all that variety I saw. Now hands come down either onto the seat of your chair or your blocks if you have them. See if you can step forward and switch your feet. All right, so step the opposite foot back and release down to the opposite knee. Good. And then as you're ready, hands will come onto that front leg. And the legs are still really active here. There might even be this sensation, right, that you can reach the chest up a little bit higher, finding maybe a little bit of a back bend. And the hands can either stay here, if again you want to play around with balance, right? Hands can reach up. And if the hands reach up and it feels like too much, remember they can always come back down. Yeah, wherever you are, take one more inhale. And one more exhale, really good. From here, hands come down onto the seat of your chair or your blocks. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Good, awesome. From here, what I'd like you to do is bring your hands onto the floor and step back into plank. And in plank, I'd like you to right away lower down to your knees. So we're kind of like in an extended tabletop pose. And then slither all the way down to the floor, right? Just like a snake would slither and lower all the way down. Good. And the hands will be under the shoulders, and you untuck the toes so that all 10 toenails are on the floor. See if you can squeeze your butt, right? So get strong in the legs, and as you inhale, cobra pose. Can you hover your chest off the floor? And as you exhale, lower the chest right back down. We'll do that 2 more times. So inhale for cobra, right? This is really good for strengthening the upper back, right? Working on posture. And then exhale, lower the chest right back down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, cobra, right? Shining the heart forward. And then exhale, release. And from here, let's find child's pose. So you might remember knees are wide. We bend at our hips and rest the forehead down on the floor, maybe on a pillow or a block if that feels better for child's pose. And just take one more big breath in. Then one more big breath out. And from here, make your way to tabletop pose, hands and knees. Now, all we're going to do is take a seat, right? So butt to floor. Good. Awesome. So because of what time it is, right, that'll be the end of our active yoga practice. And we'll transition to a shape that's called restorative yoga, and it's all about relaxing. So what we're going to do is, yes, this is what we're going to do. Does everyone have a chair? If you have a chair, awesome. I see that a lot of you do. We're going to do legs up the chair. And it's really what it sounds like. So what you'll do is you'll lay on your back and place your legs on the seat of your chair, just like this. This is all it is. Right, so if you have a hard chair, sometimes it can feel nice to place a blanket over the seat of the chair. If you like a little bit more support for the back body, you can always place a blanket over your mat as well for a little bit more support. And your knees can bend here, and in fact, I'd encourage you to bend your knees. And then unlike the other style that we were just doing, right, where our heart rate was elevated a little bit, we were moving a little bit faster, right? There was some strengthening in there, right? We threw in chair pose, right? This is all about just relaxing. So if you'd like, place one hand on your belly or both hands on your belly if that feels okay, and see if you can just breathe into your low belly, just like we practiced towards the beginning of class. Right, if you practice this seated before, you might really begin to feel the belly move as if it were a balloon. And then maybe place one hand on your ribs and your lungs, sort of in the center of your torso, and see if you can breathe into the lungs, into the ribs. You might feel the hands widen out a little bit and then slowly come back in as you exhale. And then maybe you place one hand on the chest, on the heart, and see if you can breathe into that hand. So you stay right where you are. I'm just going to get up. And what's nice about, so you're welcome to stay in that shape if it works for you. I just wanted to see what you all were up to. What's nice about focusing on the breath is that the breath is always with us, right? It's this free resource that wherever we are, it's there with us, right? And it can also be a good gauge and tell us how maybe we're feeling internally. So you might be able to remember a time where maybe you felt upset or anxious or worried. And if you think about that time, you might remember that the breath maybe felt really fast or that the heart rate was really quick. And the opposite is true too, right? You might be able to remember a time when you felt really safe or relaxed or calm. and the breath probably felt really long and deep, and the pulse was probably pretty slow and steady. So by working with the breath, we can have the ability to affect our mood and how we're feeling. So this is what we're practicing here. We're practicing breathing a little bit deeper, allowing the muscles of the body to relax a little bit more fully. Feels safe or okay, right? You might see what it feels like to close your eyes. Every yoga class always ends with a posture like this, a posture that we hold for a little bit. That's all about relaxing. And it's called the final resting shape. And sometimes it looks different than this shape, but it has the same general qualities of just inviting relaxation and deeper breaths. You might notice that the longer we linger here, maybe the more distracted the mind gets. And if that's the case, know that that's really normal and really common. But what I'd like you to consider is if you've ever had a puppy, right, or you met a puppy, that a puppy that's in the middle of training, maybe learning how to catch a ball or shake a hand, right? And puppies have pretty short attention spans. So maybe in the midst of training, a puppy gets distracted by a fly or someone at the door. And when the puppy gets distracted, right, you don't get mad at the puppy. You just say, hey, come back to training. And that's what I'd like you to do with yourself. If you catch yourself maybe getting distracted or losing touch with your breath, just that gentle, friendly, hey, come back to the breath, come back to this experience. That's all that yoga asks of us, is to be present and aware and compassionate. Take one more deep breath in. Then one more deep breath out. Now, if your legs are still on the chair, go ahead and hug the knees in towards the body best you can. And it might feel good to roll from one side to the other, one hip to the other. And the next time you roll onto one side, just go ahead and roll all the way over so that you're on the side of your body. Right, finding kind of like a little seed. This is called Sepaling Pose. So you might imagine yourself just being a little seed under the soil, right, all coiled up. Yeah, and we take a little bit of time here just to feel really supported by the ground underneath us. And then bring one hand on the mat in front of you and slowly press the mat away from you and rise on up. And just take a seat.